Hello everyone and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 4th of July 2022. It's Gary here again, and firstly I'd like to wish all of our Rangers brothers and sisters in Canada a very happy and belated Canada Day this past Friday. I don't think I mentioned that last week when we chatted, so yeah, that was on the 1st of July, as it is every single year, and I'm sure you already know this, but for those who don't, Canada Day commemorates the anniversary of the Constitution Act, which consolidated three territories into the single nation of Canada way back on the 1st of July 1867, which, if I'm not mistaken, was also the exact same day as our Treasurer, Alec Grant's high school graduation. I might be wrong on the actual day there. And secondly, to all Rangers fans in the US of A, a very happy Independence Day today. And for those wondering what this actually is, apart from a pretty cool movie starring slap-happy Will Smith, it commemorates the 1776 Second Continental Congress unanimously adopting the Declaration of Independence, announcing the colony's separation from Great Britain. Somebody today called it the Happy Traitors Day or something. And I don't know my history well enough to know if that's true or not, but I'm sure everybody already knew both of those things. But I just thought I would start this week with a wee bit of history for you. You just never know what you're going to get on the NARSA weekly update. So on to the game segment for this week. I don't even know why I'm laughing. I don't know why I think that's so funny. On to the game segment for this week. It's finally a week where Rangers Football Club's first team will be playing the first of four significant preparatory friendlies this month to get us in tip-top shape for our season opener, which is now less than 4 weeks away. So just another quick recap. This Saturday we have Rangers versus Sunderland, which is a 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 8 p.m. UK. Then the following Saturday, Blackpool versus Rangers, and that's Bloomfield Road, and that's a 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 3 p.m. UK. Then the following Tuesday, we are at home to West Ham, and that's a 2:45 Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 7:45 p.m. in the UK. And then the Saturday after that, which is the week before the season opener, that's at home to Spurs, and that's a 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 3 p.m. UK. And as I say, then of course we head into competitive action on the 30th, and it's the first league game of the season on a plastic pitch, in typically in a stadium that we don't have a whole bunch of entertainment at, but the results have been what we need over the last wee while as far as I can remember, so hopefully that will be the same again. More about that in a few weeks. In terms of our TV coverage for the friendlies, I can confirm that both Alan McWatt and myself have been reaching out to RTV multiple times to try and get confirmation that the NARSA clubs will be getting access to the pre-season games, and literally just a few minutes before I started recording, we received confirmation that we will indeed be getting them. So what that means is each club, you will have to test out your account to see if it's still active. I'm not sure when the expiry date was on them. I don't know if it was the end of this month or maybe it was the end of last season. I'm not 100% sure. If your account is not active, please get in touch with Alan and he will get you organised with some new codes to get you sorted for the season. And just remember that you can test your account from any device anywhere. You don't have to wait until you get to the pub or club, and you don't have to use the laptop that's associated with the pub or club. You know, you just use whatever laptop, whatever device you use, and get it tested. Log in, see what the expiry date is on that, and if you need any help with that, just contact Alan and he will be able to help you out. So please test this as soon as possible and let us know if you need any help and support prior to Saturday. As Alan very poignantly said at the AGM in Vegas last month, game day requests are not helpful, they're not appreciated, and nor are they guaranteed to be resolved, as we're all very busy and have lots on the go on game days. So please do this ASAP, as in basically as soon as you finish listening to this, and then get yourself organised if you're planning to get together to watch the games on the weekend. the game on the weekend. As I mentioned last week, this is typically the time when we would be conducting an RTV survey to see what clubs can realistically afford in projection planning into next season. I did chat with Alan and Brian Campbell last week to determine our best strategy for that as we move forward, and we will have more to share on that one shortly, as our main focus, as I've been mentioning for quite some time, is to wrap up everything administratively from Vegas 2022 before we proceed. So we'll get that. Typically it's July, so we're not late or anything like that. So we'll see how it goes. We'll get Vegas finished off, and then we can turn our full attention to what we're going to do from an RTV perspective for season 22-23. For shout-outs, firstly, the main news, of course, from last week was the passing of the legend that was the goalie, Andy Gorman, who left us just yesterday at the stupidly young age of 58 years old. Man, oh man, what to say about the goalie? He's most definitely the best goalie I've ever seen live in my 35 plus years of watching Rangers, which is actually incredible when you think about some of the superb goalies that we've had in that time. For example, Chris Woods, Stefan Kloss and Alan McGregor, to name just a few of them. And the goalie made 260 appearances for Rangers between 1991 and 98, won 5 league titles, 3 Scottish Cups and 2 League Cups with us, and he also won 43 caps for Scotland and was the starting goalie in both the 1992 European Championships in Sweden and the 1996 European Championships in England. He just seemed to thrive on the big games, didn't he? And according to the Sky Sports article that I read, he faced Celtic 26 times in his time with us, 26 times, and lost just 5 of those games. That's incredible. And he kept 11 clean sheets in the process. So just over 7 years over a 7-year career, I should say, with us, he lost just 5 games against that mob. Let that one sink in for a bit. An absolutely remarkable record for a remarkable goalkeeper, quite frankly. Our club is special and has a very lengthy list of legends, but when you say the gaffer, you know we're talking about Walter Smith. When you say the goalie, you know we're talking about Andy Gorman, and I'm very pleased this one is most certainly still with us. When you say the captain, you know we're talking about Richard Gough. These titles, these names aren't just banded around to just anyone. They're saved for the absolute cream of the crop, the top guys, and Andy Gorman was most certainly that for our great club. I did correspond with Andy a couple of weeks back, just passing on our best wishes and telling him how sorry we were about the way that things worked out with his cancer and the diagnosis, and essentially thanking him for everything that he did for us, on behalf of NARSA. And he did get back the very next day saying, "Big thank you, mate, much appreciated, GB." He signed all of his emails, GB, God bless. And just what a great guy. So he knew we were thinking about him. He knew how much we loved and appreciated him, and he knew how much we just wanted him to enjoy as much as he possibly could the end of his life. And based on some of the material that was out there on social media, he certainly did get himself out and about there, as much as he possibly could when he was able to enjoy himself as much as he could. And he just loved to enjoy himself, didn't he? He didn't seem to mind courting controversy at almost every single stage of his career, but he took his loyalty to Rangers very, very seriously. And as I'd mentioned on a previous pod, we had been discussing, it must have been about a year ago, maybe a wee bit less, Andy possibly attending Vegas 2022 to be, a crucial part of the 9 in a row contingent, and it just didn't work out at that point. And of course, with the diagnosis, he wouldn't have been able to make it along in any case. But if he had, I'm sure he would have had an absolute ball. We would have had a whole bunch more memories of Party Andy, most likely. Most of them we couldn't share in public, but what a guy. Rest in peace up there, goalie, and thanks again for everything. Just heartbreaking. I don't mind admitting, folks, I'm getting pretty tired of Rangers legends passing, with the likes of Walter and Davy Wilson, who was laid to rest and last Friday there, and the goalie just in the past 10 months or so. So I'm going to use my vast and very influential presidential powers and call the new inaugural NARSA moratorium on any further Rangers legends leaving us for the remainder of 2022. You heard it here first, folks. This is a presidential decree that we are done with this awfulness. Now, give us a break, please. If only it were that easy. Okay, finally, on the shout-outs, I wanted to lighten the mood a wee bit and do another shout-out for NARSA Communications Director Fraser Muir. Hot on the heels of his daughter Fiona's wedding a couple of weeks back, he asked me to give another shout-out, this time to his son Graham, who is marrying his high school sweetheart Brianne this Saturday, or the 9th of July. He proposed to Brianne at a wee strip of a beach in front of their home with the traditional down on one knee, and they've known each other for 17 years, but Graham was still a bag of nerves during the proposal and can't actually remember what he said other than, "Will you marry me?" Then there was lots of hugs and kisses and excited calls to family, so we're assuming that she said yes by virtue of the fact the wedding is this week. So that's 2 weddings 2 weeks apart for Fraser and family. And Fraser tells me Fiona's wedding a couple of weeks back there was lovely, and he thought he could handle everything until the tears came, and he just bawled his eyes out, as most dads tend to do when their daughters are getting married. And their vows to each other were pretty special by all accounts, and even Chris, the groom, who's a pretty cool customer, began shedding some tears or two as well. So Fraser's son is much similar to that as well, so he will most likely need a wee bit of Kleenex for this coming Saturday as well. So good luck to Graham and Brianne, and of course Fraser this weekend, and we'll get a wee bit of an update from him either next week or the week after as to how it went, and then we'll take it from there. So for NARSA 2023, I can officially confirm that it is 346 days from today until the first official event for Toronto Midtown in Toronto 2023. In weeks, that's just over 49 weeks to go. Mark my words, before we know it, it's going to be in the 30s of weeks to go, then the 20s, then the 10s, and then single figures, I guarantee it. Not too much to report on top of what I told you last week in terms of our preparatory planning that we are doing. I do have a call that I've got arranged with Roseanne Ratta from the Holiday and Flight Centre tomorrow morning, just to start to really put the packages together, essentially for folks from the UK. But once we get the Vegas fully wrapped up, as I was talking about a wee bit earlier in the RTV segment, we will then go full bore into 2023 planning, and we'll have more information to share about that over the next couple of weeks. Certainly by the end of the month, we'll be getting really full steam ahead. And as I mentioned, the Holiday and Flight Centre are putting packages together. We'll see. We've been targeting about the August time frame, so we're still on target for that. It's just going to be a quick catch-up call with Roseanne tomorrow morning, just to make sure we're on the same page, and that we can start to look at what those look like and get what the communications of those would look like as well. And one wee teaser from a convention update I'd like to provide and put out there is that we're starting to see some interest in convention hosting for future years as well, which is, I think it's absolutely incredible, and testimony to our resolve to keep our North American expat Rangers community thriving. As you know, the next 2 years, of course, next year is Toronto, and the year after is New York, which takes us up to 2024. We've had an early expression of interest for 2026, and we have an absolute banger of a location in mind for 2025 that we have been considering for quite some time. So more to follow on that as time progresses, as maybe the years progress. I don't want to leave it for years and years, of course, but suffice to say that it appears that we are in good shape for the short to medium term as we continue to evolve, and as association, in terms of what we are going to be renowned for, and for most outside of the association, that is indeed the convention. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it? I'm sure if you meet me in Toronto and you ply me with enough of their very expensive beer, I might get chatty and let you know what the plans might be. Or not. You never know, I guess. On to the communication for this week. Firstly, I said last week that I would put the link to the Graham Souness interview on the blurb for the pod, and then I promptly didn't. I got a quick heads up about that from Brian Campbell. I think it was Tuesday morning that he told me in no uncertain terms that I had missed that one. So that's a big whoops, my bad. I will definitely put it in for this week, and you will see I've actually already got it in for this week. So as soon as I click send on that, then you'll get to see that. I think I mentioned last week that I had ordered the new Rangers home kits for family and also for my mate Jamie over here, and that was on Sunday the 26th of June. And I anticipated at the time that I'd have the shirts later last week, because I think they said it was something like a 4-day delivery window. And as I sit here 8 days later, I still don't have the shirts. Now, what it said was it usually takes up to 2 business days to prepare an order made with Rangers for delivery. Once your order has been shipped, we will send you an email which will include the shipment tracking number for your reference. So, I have to admit, that's a wee bit weird because I've never had to wait quite as long. That's 8 days now. That would be 6 business days, because literally, again, not long before I started recording, I got an email saying that it's now been shipped. I've got DHL will be in touch type part of that. I don't have actually a confirmed shipping date to that just yet. So a wee bit frustrating. It's always, I want to get my shirt, and everybody else wants to get their shirts because it's a cracker and it looks great, and we're really looking forward to wearing it as well. So typically when I order any Castore stuff, just regular workout gear, I get that email that says you're good to go, and then a day or maybe 2 days later DHL says, right, okay, confirm your delivery details, and then they'll give me a date or a estimated date at that particular point. So I imagine I'm probably going to get them by the end of this week, and hopefully that's the case. And then next week I can report, or maybe I'll even record the pod next week with my shirt on, and you'll hear the difference in quality of the podcast at that point, I'm sure. And I think I also mentioned that Leo would get his shirt if he got a good report card last week from his final report card of grade 7. And thankfully, again, my beautiful baby boy did just that and did a great job to finish off the grade as he moves into grade 8. So as soon as we went over his report card together last week, when we got it on Tuesday of last week, he was all kind of nervous and sheepish and stuff, and he says, well, is that good enough for the Rangers shirt? Not because he ever listens to these podcasts, but because he was actually sitting next to me in the living room last week as I was recording. So he knows he's getting it. He's very excited about that as well. So really looking forward to getting them. The club also published a fairly lengthy article on the website. I think it was late last week, explaining the Myjas loyalty points. And I think the title of the article was Myjas Loyalty Points Update. And the article, as I mentioned, is pretty long with lots of actually really valuable information in there. A couple of things that stood out for me was that on the extensive list of things that you get Myjas points for, purchasing apparel or merchandise from the club doesn't appear to be one of them, which is pretty interesting when you take into account the considerable investment that fans make in purchasing apparel and merchandise. And not that we have a whole bunch of merchandise to buy right now, but I didn't realise that, and I'm guessing it was probably quite upfront from before, and I just didn't pay attention last year. But I would have thought that, supporting the club via making purchases directly from the club would have been one thing that would have got you organised, unless it's something that maybe looks like it could be open to abuse or something like that. I have no idea. Just an interesting point. The second thing was that they discussed a survey that went out asking about supporters' preferences between the points carrying over, the Myjas points carrying over for either 5 seasons or 3 seasons. And the reason I thought this was interesting is kind of twofold. Firstly, I don't recall being canvassed to vote in this survey, and they also held focus groups, which to my knowledge overseas fans are still not part of, as the membership initiative at this point is still very much heavily weighted for UK based fans. And secondly, the amount of respondents was just under 4,000. It was 3,977. So considering that there was around about 45,000 Myjas members last season, to have less than 10% of those respond is a wee bit well, for me anyway, it's a wee bit of an eyebrow raiser. It certainly would be for me if I was running an important survey for NARSA and trying to encourage participation from everyone. You know, you're never going to get 100% participation in these surveys. We know that, or likely even close to that, but you should be moving mountains to get more than, 9 or so percent, I would think. Anyway, I'll put the link to the article in the blurb for tonight's pod. You can check it out if you feel like it. And then we can see, and just as I was kind of discussing the home top, I still don't have Leo and I's Myjas packages either. And if I recall correctly, I should have done a wee bit better research about this before I started recording tonight, but if I recall correctly, they weren't starting to ship internationally until about now. I think actually maybe even it said the first week in July. So if that's the case, then we'll probably get it in the next week or so, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we get. Leo, as you might remember, was very unimpressed with his tat that he got last year as a Myjas member, but I was thoroughly impressed. I thought it was brilliant, the adult one. So we'll see what he gets this year, and I'll give you a bit of a report on that when it arrives. A quick reminder that our partners, 5 Stars, have their signing session next week with Barry Ferguson and Craig Moore on the 12th of July. And you, as I'd mentioned before, you can purchase memorabilia directly from 5 Stars, or you can drop your own stuff off or post it into them, and they'll get it ready to sign at that. So I will keep the link in the blurb for this week, and I guess I could probably do it for next week as well for the folks that listen on the Monday, but I imagine the majority listen on the Tuesday, and then that's the day of the actual signing, and you've kind of missed it then. The club also put out an absolutely brilliant video on their social media channels. I didn't actually see it on the website of where the Scottish Cup was when it wasn't actually at NARSA 2022. I'm still very disappointed about that, so I'm going to do my best to say no more about it, but I'll post the link to the video on the blurb again for the email, because it's brilliant, and it's just great to see the Bears having an absolutely brilliant time with the trophies, the excitement, the layout, the setup. Broxy Bear was there. There was a whole bunch of activity. It seemed to have a real family feel to it as well, so it brings an absolute smile to your face. And again, they could have done that at any point over the summer, but for whatever reason the club decided it had to be done the day before NARSA 2022, so they wouldn't have to take, or they wouldn't be able to take, the trophy there. I'm not suggesting it was sinister. I think it was just a very ill-timed decision that didn't take any cognizance of anything else other than just what they wanted to do. But I won't say any more about that for real this time, since I've now got it off my chest and I can swiftly move on. And moving on, I'm just going to say that's going to do it for this week, my friends. As always, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to listen, and please do share it with whomever you think might enjoy it. We might get up to double figures in listening. I hope at some point in the future. We're at double figures, don't worry about that. But no, as I say, please pass it on to anyone you think might enjoy it. And until next week, please do take care of yourself. All the very best. And here is to our team getting a return to semi-competitive action and a good result for us on Saturday in Portugal. Take care, folks. Cheerio.